Well, welcome back to our regatta reviews. Of course, I'm here with Alan again, who's going to give me the rundown, or give us all the rundown from the 2024 Wendouree Ballarat JG King Homes Regatta. I hope you like the way I threw the sponsors in there. I better hit them up for a few.
Well,
I'm going to start doing that. G'day, Alan. Welcome.
thanks, Guy. In fact, I didn't see John King on Saturday, which is probably the first time in a while.
Well, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned the sponsors. No, actually, I'm always a believer in mentioning sponsors, and this is just sidetracking completely. But the first long course triathlon race I did way back when in the early days, in the early 90s, I think it was, the sponsor was Campbell's, as it was back then, Campbell's Ardmona up in Shepparton. And so even to this day, I still favour the product if I see it on the show. I go, oh, yeah, because I'm a big believer in supporting sponsors. And
Well,
they
I can
put
tell
their
you,
money up.
John is a great sponsor, and he's a great rowing coach. He coached those really flash Ballarat Clarendon girls in Year 10.
Right.
And he was the one that first told me about them.
So he's obviously a rower by trade then.
Yeah, I guess so. We haven't discussed that.
And hence why the involvement in the sponsorship.
Yeah, no, he's a really nice guy.
Oh, well, enough about JG King Homes. We'll give him a free plug.
Yeah, why not?
Exactly.
I probably on my rowing page didn't give him as much of a plug as I usually do this year.
Oh, well.
Anyway, as you saw by the photos, the conditions were fabulous.
I know. I was about to say. Well, I don't know if you heard what happened on Sunday for all the club guys. They got smashed around with 40-kilometre-an-hour winds, and we got single sculls taking 10 minutes to get down. But anyway, let's go back to Saturday. So I did see those photos. I think I might have mentioned to you, is that Photoshop?
Yeah, no. I just couldn't believe that. You see that about 1 in 10 times when you go to Ballarat. The morning racing was particularly good. They're on time, so I actually had a chance to have a lunch with some parents, which was good.
Excellent.
Including a member of the Awesome Foursome.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Brilliant.
was excellent.
Yeah, I'm sure I could guess who that would be.
Yeah, you could guess who that is. So we had a marvellous day of catching up with parents and athletes and coaches and what have you. The racing was good, as I said.
Yep.
I was a bit disturbed to hear, we've discussed this before, but as you know, 3 of our rowing schools have basically gone.
Yep.
And I heard that another one is teetering, a regional school.
Oh, right. Is that because the school is teetering? Is that because the school is teetering, or is that?
No, this is a change. As usual, it's the executive.
Right.
So the executive's changed. The head of rowing's gone. Can't get staff to attend regattas. So yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's hard. It is hard, and I understand the administrative side of things. When they look at it, if they're not involved in rowing, they look at it and they see the expense and they see all the outgoings and the commitment of time and concerned parents. But I think they miss the point sometimes of the value that comes out of it.
I think they've totally missed the point.
But anyway, we're slightly biased, though, Alan.
No, we are slightly biased, but I don't think it's been a good year for executives and schools. I noticed that total numbers are down 15-20%. Didn't spot that till today. I was looking at the Furbank regatta numbers for next week, then went back to Morongo.
Yep. And
at this Wendouree Ballarat regatta that we're going to discuss, they're all down about 15-20%, and that's not because of heads of rowing not entering crews, simply because I think the squad sizes are smaller, and I reckon that's cost.
Yep.
I reckon that's cost.
Yep.
And I did think to myself about 3-4 months ago when I saw some squad sizes from senior squad sizes, I beg your pardon, I thought things were a bit off then, and sure enough, that's happening.
Because most of these schools, they pass on the cost, don't they, to the parents?
Oh, of course they do.
So all of a sudden you've gone, from your $30,000 a year fees up to sort of 35,000 plus if you want to do a bit of rowing.
Well, in girls' schools, they charge school fee, rowing fee separately. So you might have gone from 3.5 to 4.5.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference. And I think certainly last year, head of schoolgirls was 497 entries. I reckon it'll be much less this year.
Well,
we shall see. The other thing that I did speak to the head of Shelford about that when I say I spoke to him, we passed passed by,
Yep.
and he was very impressed with that idea.
With the points.
The shield,
The
yes.
Shelford Shield.
Yeah, so I'd mentioned it to a couple of parents the previous
Yep.
week. So that was Julian Whitehead. He's a nice guy.
Yep. Yep.
And that school's going to go out with a bang, guy. They're going to nationals.
Oh, right.
Now, on talent and results, you'd question that, but I think the schools, well, may not be the school, but they've decided to go out with a bang. So they're going to
Yep.
Penrith, which is good on them.
Excellent. Excellent.
Good on them.
I don't know if you saw on my Facebook yesterday or was today, I posted one of my great favourite sayings, obviously not mine. A great saying that, hard work beats talent when
I
talent
saw that
doesn't
one.
work hard, and there's nothing more true than that. So
Yeah,
maybe.
and I think that's fabulous. But
Yeah.
I just think we just have to get that idea of the Sheffield Shield, the Shelford Shield up. I think that would be fabulous.
Well, there's something to, there's a little bit of time to get it off the ground, isn't there?
Well, I don't think you necessarily need to get it off the ground for this season. It's just when they're not there next season.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, so plenty of time to get some traction.
Yeah, and you just
Keep the conversation going, and it'll grab some legs.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
now,
just before we do get into the results, very quickly, a noticeable absentee, MLC. Why were they not at Ballarat on the weekend?
well, you might remember that Matt Wilson, who used to be head of rowing at Brighton,
Yep.
would go to MLC.
Yep.
And Matt wouldn't have thought that Ballarat's his favourite course. I don't think he rowed there terribly often when he was at Brighton.
Yep.
In fact, I don't think Brighton attended this regatta. When was their last attendance? Maybe 2012 or thereabouts.
Yep.
So I don't think you're going to see MLC row at Ballarat very often, unless
Sure.
it's states, and
Yep.
perhaps not only that. Whereas at nationals, if you look at MLC, what they're doing at nationals, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean, those MLC parents must be so excited. I'm just looking at what they've entered at nationals, Guy.
Yep.
Under 16 double sculls,
Oh.
under 17 double sculls, under 19 double sculls, single sculls. This is MLC.
Yeah. Yep.
The
Wow.
doyen of conservatism.
Yep. Yep. Exposing themselves.
Well, what they're doing is this is going to be fabulous for them. So, you may not see them at Ballarat, but this is going to be fabulous for their program.
Yeah.
It's like the French Revolution.
God. Look,
Except there may not be too much blood on the floor.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, I hear all of that and I understand that, but I just have this thing, and it frustrates me a little bit, and I see it a bit from my old school. I've always been of the view I would rather race and put me on a race every day of the week. Forget this training business or focusing on one event. Get out there and race as much as you can, and I reckon that applies in any sport. And I think the kids miss out when you have a Saturday where the other schools are up there racing. Wouldn't they want to be up there racing?
Well,
Wouldn't
you'd think so.
Surely the kids want to do it. Why don't the coaches just say,
Yeah.
let them go? But anyway,
Well,
they know more about it.
some of it's not wanting to tire them out, which I find a bit silly considering
Yeah.
our favourite young single sculler is rowing just about everything, and she's absolutely brilliant. But if you take next week at New South Wales, Geelong Grammar, for instance, didn't row at the weekend. Neither did Geelong College, and they would have been preparing for Sydney. Loreto Toorak and MLC and Wesley all rowed. Look, sometimes there's school things on too. I mean, Genazzano didn't row at the Morongo Regatta.
Yep.
There's your
Going for the
mainstream
juniors,
school.
yeah.
And I notice, this week there's one or two missing. Look, I think they mostly row.
Yep.
Sometimes the coaches think, oh, look, I must rest them. I mean, I thought Carey rested this weekend because they rowed the Ballarat Regatta, didn't do terribly well, then got the Barwon Regatta. They actually needed a rest probably, psychologically more than physically. So you just never know.
No, that's true. That's true. So anyway, let's get to the results. Any surprises?
Not so much surprises. As I said, the morning was far more interesting than the afternoon. So in the first 8, we had MGGS start brilliantly, Loretto start slowly. So MGGS has won by 4 seconds, and it's 7 minutes to 7:04. They're in that top group with MLC. Nothing's changed here since we first talked about this months ago.
Yep.
St Catherine's did a 7:11, Furbank did a 7:11, and Wesley, who are all over the place, did a 7:17.
Right.
Geelong College, remember from that group, didn't row. And then next, the third group, Jen did a 7:31 and Lorison did a 7:33. Geelong Grammar in that group, in my opinion, didn't row. Caulfield Grammar have been rowing seconds, second division, I beg your pardon, and Kerry didn't row. So I don't think anything's changed from that.
Yep.
That's going to be down to it's going to be a three-way battle between those top 3 big schools, and then who gets in the A final.
Yep.
So, I mean, I know you look at the results. If you've got a different opinion, please say so.
Well, I could see, obviously, the wind picked up a bit between the first run through and the second run through, because the times were substantially slower. But I noticed you said Wesley all over the place. They did in their, not their heat, the preliminary. They did 7 minutes, and then they went through in the final and did 7:17.
That school's hard to follow. Interesting, at the last New South Wales Regatta, St Catherine's New South Wales, which is talked about as being the best crew in Australia, did a 6:41.
Right.
Pimble Ladies did, I think it was about a 6:46, 6:48 the other day. So when these crews go to New South Wales, we'll get a better idea for nationals as well.
Of course.
What do we learn out of that? Not much, except I think, we've been right. I mean, there's no harm in that.
No, no. I'd expect no less too, Alan.
On the seconds, this is pretty easy too. Loretto Toorak did a 7:26, MGGS a 7:34. MLC beat Loretto Toorak on the Barwon Regatta by 0.24 of a second. That's a three-way go between the top 3.
Yep.
Geelong College did very well in a 7:37. The Loretto Ballarat crew won't be rowing 8s ahead of schoolgirls. And the rest, you can sort of figure out. Lauriston did well to win the B final from Furbank. Yep. In under 21s, I thought Loretto Toorak might beat the Mercantile Composite, but that wasn't the case. I guess when you look at who's in the Mercantile Composite, I should have had it didn't matter. It was because there's no under 19 events now. All these 8 schools go home at lunchtime, which is really sad. Yeah,
that's what you were saying last time.
Under 21s had two entries.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So that's really a non-event, that one. The best race of the day, if you go down to event 11, which is the under 21 box quad scull.
Yes.
Here you had the Hot Barwon crew. Now, their bow wasn't in that crew. Okay, the last whose initials are AS. In fact, I introduced AS to an American recruiter later in the day.
Oh, right.
Interesting. And family, obviously. So what's happened here is this has been neck and neck between Barwon and Albert Park College, who put their 2 good double scull combinations in that boat.
Yep.
And as you know, when you put 2 good small boat combinations or 4 single scullers in a quad, often it clicks. You know that.
Of course.
And so that was a great race. Strathcona first were 13 seconds away. Strathy's issue this year is they've got about 8 girls all of the same ability.
Yep.
So they had this about 3 years ago. So what's going to happen with Strathy is they'll be caught short in Division 1, where they'll probably be B final. They'd like to win Division 2, but they'll win divisions, but it's like be 3 to 5.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, they've got 7 quads.
Yeah.
It's just extraordinary. I mean, the program is big, but I mean, they just don't have that quality up the top end.
Yeah.
To get through.
I got to do a shout out here, Alan. I see Fintner there in 5th place.
Yes, actually, I actually had that written down. Oh, Fintner. Well, have a look at Fintner in Division 1, because I was doing under 21s in Division 1. Look, Brighton just eased away with that by 15 seconds, because that's one of the top boats.
Yep.
Okay. Then you had Strathie Fitner were only 4 seconds away.
Wow. Yes.
They did lose their stroke before Christmas. Their stroke moved schools.
Oh, yep.
And that was a shame. Oh, for them. But that was a disappointment. I mean, if you look at that Q1 fleet there, you've got right in there. That's a top. But where's Gippsland Grammar, MGC? Barwon didn't bother rowing that, and Corowa didn't bother entering the regatta either.
Yeah.
So really, that was always a right and benefit.
Sure.
Q2 is really interesting because I was standing next to the Strathie folk who were wondering why on earth are Haileybury rowing, doesn't that boat row fours? Well, because they row. This is actually the story of the year. Haileybury's done and dusted almost.
Yeah.
These 5 girls are absolutely marvellous. They're going out there and winning these events, and they did it again on Saturday.
Yep.
And
a good margin too.
Couple of lengths. Yeah. And I just think they're fabulous. They don't smile or anything when they come back, but I just hope in their social media, Haileybury social media, apart from their superstars, they actually mention these girls because that's a fabulous effort.
Yeah.
And that's all that's left of them.
Yeah.
That one crew from the girls on campus.
Oh.
I just thought that was very impressive.
Yeah, no, good on them. Good to see. Good to see.
Yeah. Can't say enough about that crew.
No.
I didn't see, I almost saw their medal presentation. I just missed it. I don't know if there were any parents there. I saw a lot of Haileybury boys there from the boys squad, but I just hope, they're all sort of ganging together because they were fabulous.
Yeah.
In fours, Division 1 was wrecked. I mean, Loretto Ballarat scratched after the 8th race in the morning.
Yep.
Clarendon scratched after the preliminary because their stroke was out because of that bizarre injury I was telling you offline. And so what happened was Furbank split 8 from the first one easily, as you can see.
Yes, I can see.
That's event, if I've gone too fast, that's event
40. Yep, I've got it up on the screen.
So that one easily from Jen's split 8.
Yep.
The fascinating thing is, we're going into the head of the lake, the major Ballarat event, and we haven't seen all the Ballarat crews race. Interestingly here, the fastest Ballarat crew was Ballarat High School.
Right.
Now, they have sometimes go through little eras where they are fast and very, very good. So here they've beaten Ballarat Grammar, which is quite extraordinary when you go back to the Melbourne Head and look at what Ballarat Grammar did at the Melbourne Head. Because Clarendon scratched and Loretto Ballarat aren't there. These Ballarat schools do not like to travel to Nagambie. So the Nagambie Regatta, they may not all be there, which means you might go into the head of the lake this year with the Ballarat schools not having raced each other, which is quite extraordinary.
Goes back to what I was saying a moment ago about the kids want to race, surely, but
Yeah, I know. I just don't get it either. But, and what was I going to mention? In the under... I didn't write down the result. The under 21-4 was basically a battle. I think, Mercantile won that from what I call the dream boat, which was McNeil, Fury, Harrison.
Oh, yeah, yes.
That, and then you had the... that was Clarendon's effort in the morning. That didn't come off for them. That event didn't mean terribly much, to be honest. In F2, the Clarendon seconds beat Loretto Ballarat seconds by 6 seconds. Those Clarendon seconds are really good.
Yep.
And I was told by the mother of the stroke that all of the, I won't mention the name, but all of the girls with that name, who you see, are all related. They're all cousins. They're all in different schools.
Oh, right.
So you might find that name. It's Catherine's, for example.
Right. Okay.
And it's a fairly famous rowing name.
We can check we can check the entries for that one, can't we?
Yeah. Didn't learn that much from that, except Clarendon are good, Loretto Ballarat there. I did write down one comment. Ballarat Grammar are really hard to follow, all over the place. Moving on, double sculls. Well, this was a very good race. Albert Park sort of dominates this. So they've changed their crews around, but the number 1 Albert Park crew, which is also going to New South Wales next week, won. Then you had this plucky Wrighton crew come in second, and Albert Park was third.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, Albert Park will medal and had his schoolgirls.
Yep.
And I suspect will medal high. I'm expecting to win. You'd have to ask whether those lasses from Wrighton will stay in the double, but it looks likely at this stage. Then single sculls were sort of mixed between club and SS1, which is Schoolgirls Division 1.
Yep.
In Division 1, well, the 15 or 16-year-old Katie McNeil's just gone bang there and won by 16 seconds.
Oh.
And she's an intermediate.
Right.
I saw Beatrix Hearn, the lass that finished second, on the way home. I don't think she's too worried about Katie competing against her. She's more worried about the other girls. But Beatrix should be a final at head of schoolgirls, which is nice. She's a lovely family, and her dad's about 6'17". So,
oh well, there you go. That helps.
Yeah.
That helps.
And so that was an interesting race. And of course, in the morning, a certain girl with the name Zara Kafuri, which
Yep.
you sort of know, she basically won that by 10 seconds from our world bronze medalist Lucy Richardson from that pair from Ballarat.
Right. Yep.
And so Lucy really has never rode quads until not quads, I think.
Singles.
Singles until this year. And Mia Harrison is very good. I met her for the first time at the weekend.
So she's only really much started racing singles now.
Yeah.
And going that well.
Yeah.
Gee, I would have thought it's more of an acquired taste, the old single, but I don't know.
Well, that's that. Now
I do often look at the kids in all the singles now, and I've said this before here. I admire them. I admire their courage, exposing themselves like that to go out in a single. It's bloody daunting at my age, and I've been doing it forever and a day. Let alone these kids. I don't know.
That's right. Well, they've got guts. I mean, one of the lasses in SS1 must have capsized or something near the start.
Yep.
And I was standing near the parents, and that wasn't good. And she soldiered on. Soldiered on.
Soldiered on. I knew what you meant.
Yes. Anyway, she comes out to do the B final. I'm standing next to that American recruiter, and he said she's good. And I thought, well, I must remember to tell her that, or her parents that, because she did. She put in a very gutsy effort. Now, just quickly on the Morongo, I spent a couple of hours looking at those results.
Yep.
As is the case at Geelong, sometimes things aren't timed.
Just to clarify, Alan, before you go there, the difference between the Ballarat Regatta and the Morongo Regatta.
Morongo's juniors and inters, and over 1,000.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So for those at home who don't really know the difference, rowing parents, the juniors and inters are the younger ones in theory, and the seniors are the open ones.
Yeah. So sometimes. So this is important for head of schoolgirls and trying to predict who wins, because you need the timing. This is the one course where you actually need to see the times.
Yes.
Because I won't tell you my secrets, but I use a little formula to work out, and who's going to win at head of schoolgirls.
Oh yeah.
And you might remember last year I had a 100% record, which I'm really cocky about now.
Yep.
So anyway, the point was that most of them were timed, which is great. In inters, year 10, the dominant schools were MLC Furbank, Loreto Toorak, Ballarat Grammar, Furbank and Ballarat Grammar did particularly well for Furbank's almost a big school again, but really MLC and Loreto Toorak are, and Albert Park College was the other one.
Yep.
Now, for the schools that row 8s, Geelong College and Caulfield Grammar were the best performers.
Yep.
But looking forward to head of schoolgirls, Ballarat Grammar, Furbank, and the MLC and Loreto would be looking pretty good. In juniors, it was Loreto Toorak, Loreto Ballarat, MLC, and MGGS the best. And in small boats, Corowa did well, winning both of those.
Right.
And for anybody listening from Corowa, and I'm going to a boat naming there this Friday, which I think I helped name actually.
But yes.
I think I did name, but I'll say help name. You've got, and I didn't sort of remember this until I saw the results. There's a lass who won the intermediate double on Saturday, who won head of schoolgirls last year. Now, At Corowa, no girl has schoolgirls has won 2 gold medals in their history. Because I was the one that supplied the school with their table of medalists at Head of Schoolgirls.
Yep.
So the interesting thing there is they go into this Head of Schoolgirls with 3 girls who potentially could do that. 1 in Q1, 1 in Q3, and particularly this lass in this little doubles event, into doubles. So that's, for the folk out in Glen Iris, that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure whether they'll realise all that, but that's what's happening. Furbank Regatta, there's only a few. This is this coming weekend.
Yep.
Last year there were about 315 entries. This year about 245, which goes.
That's way down, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's my whole bit about down 15-20% on squad size.
Yep.
New South Wales Championships, it was 1400. It's down to 1366, which is not as significant, but
no.
If you look at the Victorian regattas, they're mostly down by that 15-20%. Not so much the clubs. The club days are doing much better than the school days.
Yep.
And that'll be cost. That'll be school fees.
Absolutely. It has to be, doesn't it? The other thing too, Alan, that may come into play with entries is this new RV rule. And I don't know where it sits with the schools, but what happens now is scratching is $110 a seat.
Yeah.
So if you don't,
my daughter was telling me that the other day.
So you're kidding me. They've just gone from like $110 a crew to $110 a seat. Yeah. So if your 8 doesn't rock up, there's an $880 fine.
Yeah, well, she explained it to me very quickly, but all I realised is you really don't want to scratch anymore.
That's right. And look, I understand the point of it because no one wants scratchings, but if it restricts your ability to enter and then try and put things together leading up to it, because, the entries close at midday on the Monday before, so that's a fair way out.
Yeah.
And, if you're putting stuff together, our club captain has a hell of a time up until 10 minutes before a race trying to organise who's doing what.
Sure.
But if you're trying to, put in entries and you've got that risk over your shoulder of $110, I can't imagine the administrators of the school would be too happy if you came back with a few $1,000s of fines over a weekend. So, look, I don't know if I've got this correct, but Rowing Victoria really need to have a look at that one. I'm not going to get political on here, but it's just not. That's not in the whole point of getting people out racing. It's quite the opposite. It could be a legitimate deterrent.
Maybe their view is to stop entry, not so much in the club side, but maybe on the school side, to stop people thinking, it's going to be 1 degree too hot. I'm just going to scratch the entire squad.
Yeah.
And and you're probably noticing it.
Yeah.
Schools, there's not as many scratchings, which I actually like. I don't like scratchings.
No.
Unless, obviously a girl can be injured or sick or something.
Oh, yeah, the things happen, obviously.
Just a director of rowing saying, we just want... I can remember a few years ago, one school copped about $6,000 worth of scratching fees.
Oh,
simply because they're disorganised and they had all these girls in the water who, in 2 events at one time.
Yeah. Well, that's poor management, though.
That was a period when that particular school was going through a notorious period of poor management.
Oh, right.
But I think one of the umpires was telling me they broke the record or something.
I don't know if that's the record you want, is it?
No, it's not the record you want.
So regardless of that one, when are we really next on? The main thing coming up will be Rutherglen, I suppose. No, Rutherglen, my God, what am I just have that stuck in my head. Nagambie.
You're just dreaming.
I know, I'm just dreaming. I meant Nagambie, obviously.
Yeah, well, what I'm doing is, because I always go to the Furbank Regatta.
Yep.
There are too many quad events, and I get a bit bored in the afternoon. After you've seen about 150 quad events, it gets a bit... but because now I have that link with Furbank, as you know.
Yep.
It'll be fun. And... so I go down there, and I keep an eye on New South Wales. So we won't do this next week because we don't need to report on Furbank, really. And then Nagambie,
You say that in the kindest way possible.
Well, I don't think we need... I think the best way to examine a junior intermediate regatta on the Barwon is, as I did on Sunday morning, you sit down for 2 hours, you write out on columns the places, and you write the heat time and the finals time. and you prepare that for your head of schoolgirls analysis. That's what I did.
I don't know how you can cover all that off the juniors and inters. It's just far. It's just so
well,
many.
it's actually not too hard, and I actually think this year, I don't think I'll get 100% this year, but I think, I'm usually 80, 85.
Yep.
And I've refined a lot of the stuff I do that I've saved a lot of time here and there. So it's good.
Fine tuning it.
Forward again,
it's a shame there's no TAB odds on that, isn't there? You could take your 85% success.
I have to tell you, I had a bet with a mother from one school.
Now, just to clarify, Alan, we don't, of course, condone gambling on this.
No, we don't. It was a 10-cent bet.
No, look,
in fact, the
principle.
By the time we actually reached the fruition of this bet, the 10-cent piece may no longer be in circulation.
Yeah, that's right.
But the bet was that she thought her particular daughter's boat would finish higher than I thought. So that's the bet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And did you win?
Well, no, we won't know till head of schoolgirls.
Oh, to head of schoolgirls.
Yeah,
so it's sort of a bet you hope you lose, isn't it, in a way? Because you don't want to be, I told you so, and their daughter doesn't do it.
Oh, no. The problem I have at this time of the year, I start to get a bit cocky, and I've got to remember parents are all having a good time, but they start to get very tense.
Yep. And
you've just got to read the room sometimes and know when to chat and when not to. So, you know what it's like.
I do.
Oh, I mean, that lady was fun, and we were just having a bit of a gag.
Bit of a laugh. Yeah, of course. It's all part of the fun of it all.
I said to her, I bet you 10 cents you're wrong. So that's all right.
Yep, that's all right.
We might double it at the next regatta.
Speaking of money, do you know anything about this at Nagambie? They've got this prize money up for grabs, 50 grand prize money. Have you heard of this?
What's that for?
It's over 4 events: the single male and female, and the pair male and female. Prize money per seat. First place $5,000.
Oh, no.
Second place $1,250.
Oh.
Not bad, is it?
No.
A few bucks up for grabs. I don't know who's. It doesn't even say who's sponsoring it here, but the Nagambie Gold, they're calling it.
Oh, I haven't looked at that yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you know? Apparently that walkway is up and running.
It is. I actually ran across it.
Did you?
Go. Yeah.
Does it go right into town?
Yeah. Yep. It sort of links all together.
So is it wide enough for people to walk along it as well as bike?
Well, yes, they'd want to be keeping their eyes on what they're doing on riding. But I stupidly...
So it's wider than the footbridge at Geelong?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a reasonable size.
Isn't that great? You can just ride into the...
as you probably know, I often go for a run between races while I'm at the game.
Yeah.
I go for it, and I run down that damn dusty old highway. And I got into town, and I turned around, and I started coming back. Hang on a sec, this thing's finished. And I had a nice run along the waterside. Yeah, no, it's great. It's great.
Oh,
very good. Very
all
good.
Right.
Anyway, look, that's probably enough for now, isn't it? We'll finish.
And hopefully we have a surprise for our listeners next time.
Hopefully we'll have a surprise. We will definitely work on that, and I'll make sure we do have a surprise in a fortnight's time when we cover the Nagambie Regatta, which is on the 17th of February. So we'll stay tuned for that one. You'll probably be keeping a close eye on what's happening in New South Wales too, Alan.
I will be. I think that'll be live streamed.
Yeah, I imagine it will.
The live stream at Ballarat, I think, only came on after lunch on Saturday.
Right.
But I looked today at the New South Wales website, and it doesn't say anything about live stream. But I looked at
I've just found it. I've just gone to the rowing manager, the New South Wales rowing manager. I've gone into the New South Wales the state championships link, and there is a live stream Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
That wasn't there this week. Well, that's good. Well, that's
so it's all sitting there on the links. It's on YouTube, and that'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah. No, there'll be some events worth watching there.
Yep, for sure.
All right,
great. Well, thanks very much, Alan, and we'll look forward to catching up in a fortnight with a bit of a surprise, a special guest, maybe.
Oh,
maybe. Well, we will see.
This is your podcast, mate. It's you're in control.
Well, that's one word for it.
Okay.
Thanks again for joining me, Alan.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.